I'll say.
Um, so I think uh, everybody that's here that needs to be on the call.
Uh, yeah,
Victoria is
Victoria.
joining.
Victoria's coming in now. I think she was
Okay.
a little thrown off by the emails.
Jerry, I'll make you co-host.
Okay, cool. So we'll just wait on Victoria to come in. Okay. Um,
Victoria there. They just came in.
okay. Okay, cool. Hello, how you doing, Victoria?
Hey Jerry,
So
how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, good.
So,
And Jerry,
for
just
Vic-
for some context, Victoria's our field coordinator, and so Victoria is the person who's been leading this work and will be working with the CRM more than anybody else.
okay, cool, awesome. So now that everybody's on the call, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kick things off. First, I want to thank you for you guys for meeting with me today. Um, and before jumping into software, uh, I've been working with National Black Food Justice Alliance for a while now, and I know you guys focus on many things. One, that I'm working closely with is, the food justice, gathering data. But I know you guys work around, Black food sovereignty, land justice, coalition building. But I wanted to get into like a discovery about, what you guys need, CERM, in terms of the CERM and, as far as like what you guys do as far as your different workflows, how people enter your ecosystem, how you guys serve your members in different ways. So that's how I want to kick things off. So, if you guys can just give me like a high level overview of the major programs and initiatives that you guys are focusing on and some of the things that you guys want to do with the CRM.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. I could just jump into it. Um, oh, sorry, I was hearing an echo. Um, yeah, so we are pivoting. We were utilizing Neon CRM for a little while, and it was not having the response time we needed. And there were some like key things that it was just messing up on. One of those is we want something that has dynamic form. Sorry, let me talk about what we do on, and then I'll get to like some of the shortfalls that Neon had,
Okay.
how we're looking for it. So, we are looking for something that houses our information on both our membership base as well as our donors. Our membership base is broken up into a couple different membership levels, with different member representatives who are underneath or like within that membership of the organization. And so something that very clearly can keep track of how people show up in the space, either as an individual member or as a representative of a larger organization. We would like something that integrates with billing platforms. We would like to do some messaging campaigns and email campaigns through it, hopefully with text integration at some point. We want something that pairs well and integrates with other platforms we use. And so that's Zoom. We would love something that can keep attendance from Zoom without us having to manually track each meeting. We also use Bill for our payment processing. And so something that integrates with Bill as well as QuickBooks. We at some point might want to do some peer-to-peer fundraising, but that's not a super pressing issue. Um, we would like some conditional surveys where, if you respond a certain way to one question, it leads you down a different question thread than if you respond the other way to a question, so that we can continue receiving membership info without burdening them with a ton of questions that they like might not apply to them. We would like to utilize, like, integrate a CRM into our program areas so we can like streamline communications by keeping track of our membership base. And so adding notes to them when we have conversations, or like being able to have like dynamic profiles that we come back to. Um, and as Teji mentioned, I'm the membership coordinator, so it would be most on the membership side. Our operations team would be handling also a donor base. So we have the membership base that we want to keep information on, as well as our donor base. And yes, we also would like it to integrate with Submittable, the answers, MailChimp, Bill, Google Suite, and possibly there's some sort of integration with mapping GIS. That would be something we're into. We would not like a lot of open sourced AI or any. If it's closed loop, we're open to it, but not open sourced. So yeah, continuing with member relationships and summaries of the members. And also like for the Zoom integration, both reporting back on the attendees and also being able to register one time. So if they register for a meeting through the CRM, they automatically have that Zoom link without having to like do a two-step registration. Some of our gaps with Neon were that when we would do forms, they would time out. And so members would spend time inputting all their information and then lose their work. So we want something that doesn't time out. Neon did not have great customer service and did not answer us within good time, which was a frustration and a difficulty. Neon did not communicate to Zoom and have that Zoom integration that we're looking for. Their membership levels were not fully compatible with our member of member and representative of members. Their additional training hours were very expensive. They did not have conditional surveys. And we would like every year we do a member renewal, and it would be nice to streamline that renewal so that we can generate a profile of the current information we have on people and ask like, hey, is this still accurate? Rather than having to like re-ask all these questions and they're like, I just gave you these answers last year. And so being able to like okay it and update things that are needed without having to like go through a whole bunch of questions again. That's like quick and dirty overview from my side. If anyone wants to add anything, please do.
So before anyone adds, I just wanted to like kind of like I took some notes and I kind of wanted to just go over them just to make sure, I caught everything. So so basically you're looking for something that houses a membership base and also a way for you to keep track of donors. You have different membership levels. You also want to integrate with different billing platforms, something that pairs well with QuickBooks and also Bill.com. You want to keep attendance with Zoom, and you want some way where you can generate some type of link when people register, so people just get the automatic link from Zoom. Um, so I guess you guys probably are doing it manually, because Neon doesn't provide that. You also want conditional surveys with rules. You want something that integrates with your program area, being able to add notes when you guys have conversations. Um, and you have other integrations as well, like Submittable, MailChimp. You only want closed loop, no open source AI. And then you spoke about some of the things Neon would do that you guys don't like Neon would time out, does not have great customer service. They did not communicate well. Um, their membership levels are rigid and they don't really match your membership levels. And they don't have conditional surveys. And then you also want to streamline member renewal instead of having to react the same thing over and over again. If this information okay, if not, let's just update here and there and just make it more streamlined. Is that pretty much on point with what you communicated to me, Victoria?
Yeah, I also missed a piece on our communication to members. We also like there's the MailChimp integration piece, but we would also like to be able to build templates and dynamic emails to send out to like specific lists of people within the membership or within our CRM based on certain parameters that we can search for.
Got you.
And then also being able to generate reports based off of the information we have on people. So like, quickly pulling a report that's like anyone that grows chickens within the Northeast, being able to have that list super easily by just doing like a quick report.
Got you. Okay, so of these programs, because you guys were using Neon, right? Or for how long were you using Neon for to manage your operations?
We were in contract with them for about 2 years, I think.
Okay.
But we like never got to full utilization with all of our staff being onboarded, and utilizing it together.
Okay. Um, like so of the stuff that you guys have to manage, as far as your operations, which one creates the most like operational friction or the most burden, you would say? Would it be like
Um,
memberships or donors or both?
Yeah, I think it's memberships. I think because we don't have the tracking and the profiles and the ease of communication regarding the membership information, we don't move as effectively as we could.
So it's the tracking of the information that creates the most. Okay, got you. Uh, and then so as far as because you guys you spoke about a lot, were you guys looking to like um tackle both parts at once, or were you guys thinking of like tackling this one piece at a time, or are you guys trying to like really, build something out custom that um solves all these problems that you spoke about?
Um, that depends. We also have there's a piece of like a member to member portion of this as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I spoke about mostly how the staff would interact with the CRM. We also
Right.
are interested. We have a platform that's working fine for now. We're utilizing WhatsApp for member to member communications, but also I think there's a way that we could be doing it better through a CRM that has like member to member communications and resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that I see that as a phase two.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the member database and the donor database could hopefully happen hand in hand.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's also dependent on, the CRMs that we're looking at. It's kind of dependent on which CRM, whether that would happen like all at once or in a phased approach.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Got you. Um, I don't know if anybody else wanted to speak on that and add on to what Victoria was talking about, but I took a lot of notes. Or anybody had any questions? Because what I'm also gonna do is demo, like, the CRM, and but I just want to get into the discovery first.
From my
Uh,
perspective, she captured everything and reported out what we've all been talking about and thinking about in terms of what we need.
okay. Okay. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I captured everything, and then what I'm going to do is just kind of just go over what I did with Sakona Collective, as far as their CRM, and just kind of demo. It's not going to be like the exact CRM because it's as protected health information because they're a doula um, organization, and they have people's health information, but it's going to be like a simulation of it. And I'm just going to go over some of the stuff that I did with them. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. Uh, over here, make sure I share. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
You like tabs like I do.
Hide these tools. Okay. All right. So, this is like a demo of the Sakona Collective CRM. And basically, I've been working with them for about a year and a half. Um, and they were using a CRM called eDoula, and they were also dissatisfied with it. Um, with the way it works, there's a lot of stuff as far as like automation that it just didn't have. And they also were managing their doulas from a spreadsheet, which make managing operations pretty difficult. So they came to me to create a custom CRM for them. And we've been working together for a while, and now we're at a stage where we're about to launch and do the pilot launch. I'm just handling like the integration with QuickBooks. They work with QuickBooks, so I do integrations with QuickBooks. I was meeting with them yesterday to do automatic invoice generation and sending a link to their clients, really his families that they work with. And and also I'm doing like HIPAA compliance with them as well. So that's been pretty interesting. Been learning a lot about that. But this is kind of like what their dashboard looks like from an overview, because basically what they're worried about is when a family comes into their system as a lead, they need to be able to track the different stages. So you have a lead stage, they come in, they fill out a form requesting services, for maternal care, from a doula, emotional support. And then they go from there to they need to be matched with a doula. So once they become matched, um, they would automatically be created as a customer in their QuickBooks system and also as a customer within the CRM, but both are communicating with each other. And they didn't have a way to track that, going from match to contract, going from contract to no, going from match to interview to contract. But they also had like maybe the person didn't want to hire them, so they said not hired. They also had a status for that as well. And I created that for them as a way for them to track, their leads and people coming into their system. And then they can see a high level overview of, how many leads, what new leads came in, how many are active, how many are eligible, because there's different requirements that they must meet. They must have the contract signed. If they fall under the status of self-pay versus Medicaid, they may have to pay something out of pocket. So the invoice needs to be generated. Then if not, then this Medicaid or their private insurance, they need to make sure they upload their insurance card. So that's a eligibility requirement, and all that needs to be tracked in the CRM. So they can properly give services out to them. So once they get on the dashboard, they're able to see all this stuff. Also, upcoming due dates, overdue tasks from doulas, unsigned contracts, because a lot of this stuff they would have to like um kind of go in there and search for it. And now there's a lot of automation tied to it as far as like emails, sending out emails to, remind people to complete certain tasks, whether it's a doula or a family, which is, a client. Um, so I'm just gonna kind of like go through kind of like a little workflow, just to kind of demonstrate for you. So like this will be like their intake form, right? So an example of it is much longer than this. It's like 7 steps with multiple different fields they have to fill out, but a person would basically like, fill this out, um, fill out the information as far as like due date, um, and then, select insurance type, whether they're self-pay, state plan, uh, where did they get referred from? A community health organization, referral partner, website, because they need a way to track that. And also their preferred contact method, phone, text, email, and then support need, birth preparation and education. Um, and then they would just basically submit it. And then on the back end, Sakona Collective would go, they could look at this lead, and then, they could track it, and then they could like change statuses. Like, for example, say if I was just promoting this person to a client right now, so they become a client in my CRM system, and then, you could change eligibility to eligible, um, client status, ready for assignment, or are they active? Maybe there's a billing follow-up that needs to take place. And a lot of this stuff, there's also automation in the back end that basically determines like, do they have a card on file if it's required? If it's not, there's a check that runs in the background and keeps this updated automatically. Did they upload their insurance card? This automation that goes out to the families to remind them to upload their insurance card. And this is a way for them to like not have to manually email people to, upload your insurance card, you know, put your card on file on QuickBooks, because that's, a mandatory requirement for them when it comes to their contracts. I don't know if you had any questions up to this point about, what I just demonstrated.
Yeah, can their clients log in and see the profile that's generated for them?
Yes, there are different roles. So with them, they have, admins, administrators, so doulas, and then you have families, which will be the client. Their profile gets created after they sign that contract. Then they will be sent an email for them to just update their password, because it automatically gets created with their information pre-populated, and then they just got to like update their password, and then they'll be able to like go in the back and see, everything that's going on as far as their services, their contract, whether they need to update their card or update their insurance, or upload their insurance card. So yeah, that profile is accessible for them.
Does it, is there a way to limit what they can see? Like if we want them to be able to see some of what's on their profile, but like if we, this internal note, will they see that?
Yes, there's actually that capability. I actually added that for Sakona Collective because they want a way for doulas to add notes, and they could toggle back and forth to determine whether it should be shown to the client or only internally with admin and people in the organization. So yeah, I could definitely add that.
Okay. Um, yeah, I guess I'm wanting something that like all of the staff can internally see, but not maybe the person. And I'm not sure
Right.
for sure that that's necessary, but it's just coming up to me. How many like internal fields could you populate on this profile? Just as many as we want?
Yeah, pretty much as many as you want. So like if a person fills out some information in the intake form, and they move from down the process, and they get to a point where they now are eligible to be a part of your ecosystem, we can do automatic profile creation and pre-populate fields within their profile.
Okay. Um, and then I don't want to jump since we're just looking at the profile, but can you connect this profile to other profiles? But I can hold that question if you're still getting to that portion.
What do you mean to other profiles? Like, do you have like another system that you want to connect it to outside of the CRM, or?
No, I mean, so say Jerry Boney is part of National Black Food and Justice Alliance, you know,
Mhm.
like we are. So I would want to be able to click on National Black Food and Justice Alliance profile and see a
Mhm.
certain amount of information about the organization itself. And then I
Mhm.
would want to see that like Jerry is a sub member or a member representative and have those profiles connected to each other. So then I can go look at Jerry's profile. And I want Jerry to be able to edit the like and view the profile of the National Black Food and Justice Alliance as an organization. But then when I look at, sorry, I'm using your name as an example because it was the
No,
first
that's
one I saw
fine.
there. But
Yeah, that's fine.
um but then I also want like Jerry to be able to um I want Jerry's profile to have like a certain other set of questions that like are just about you as a person,
Right.
how you operate as a representative of the larger organization.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You want a person's profile to be connected to the organization they're a part of. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so like under each organization, I would want there to be like um different delineations of like these people are representatives of this organization, and then maybe
Hmm.
like these people are on staff of this organization. So like we know we can keep track of everyone who's part of the organization, but we know those like two representatives, two or three, are the people that we're most concerned with contacting.
Yes, I get what you're saying. So like, you will basically want to keep track of basically like what, who are the people that need to be reached out to or connected, as far as like within the organization for like certain like reasons or goals, I would say.
Yes, just like because those two primary representatives are like the people who interact with our space the most.
Okay.
Um yes, and then also like Teji just put in the chat, we also have like some of our members have a membership base.
Hmm.
And so we would want to know like, oh, this, just to use real examples, like um there's a profile for Detroit Black Community Food Sovereignty Network, DBCFSN. So when I
Hmm.
press on that DBCFSN profile, it brings up all the information about like this is their mission statement, this is their website, this is the social media, da 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 da. It
Hmm.
also has a portion that like is like these are the staff of this organization. So like and that's nestled on this profile. So then when I click on Piper Carter's name, I can go to their profile separately. But then also on that DBCFSN page, DBCFSN is a member organization. So they have people who pay to be members of DBCFSN,
Hmm.
who can somewhat interact with our within our space in slightly different parameters. And
Hmm.
so I would also want there to be like a delineation of like this is a list of people who are members of them.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. So basically it's just
And
basically
then it also, my bad, Jay. And then it
no.
also has what are basically organizations that are programs of DBFSN. So there's a land fund that is a program of DBFSN that is its whole own organization. There's D Town Farms. There's this whole organization, and like, excuse me, Victoria said, the folks that are a part of that have some access, and we need to be able to track what spaces they've been in or what trainings they've received and things like that.
Okay. So I'm understanding a lot better.
It's really relational.
Yeah, it's really relational. And so you have, organizations, because you have National Black Food Justice Alliance, and then you have members within that are representatives. You also have programs that you guys are tracking. And just like the other organization you name, it's pretty much the same pattern. You have members within that organization and also programs that you're tracking as well within there. That makes sense.
Yes, but not every organization has a membership.
Okay.
So it's like we don't want the fluff, on say Feed 'em Freedom Detroit. We want
Hmm.
to just like see their information um without having to like scroll through all this like blank areas about like, oh, what's their membership base because they don't have one.
Oh, okay. And then those membership bases, those organizations that don't have a membership base, you guys are tracking programs there or tracking something different.
Yeah, so we still are keeping track of the programs that they run, as
Hmm.
well as the staff and the representatives. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so there's still like some similar questions there.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, okay, cool. Any other questions around or comments around the relationships? Because I took some notes.
Yeah, and then just there's that piece of like we want to know like DBCFSN is an anchor organization. So like all of our anchor organizations have like an anchor tier of membership.
Hmm.
And so when we like are pulling up anchor reps, it's like classified and can be easily reported that way.
So when you mean anchor, just so I understand it, they're anchored to National Black Food Justice Alliance or anchored to, what are they actually anchored to? Can you define it for me a little
Mhm.
bit?
Yeah, I can. So we have three types of membership, three classes of membership. We have Anchor, Beloved, and Cultivator, ABC.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like to say that they're anchored to anything beyond like anchored to the mission.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the way we've named our classifications of membership. And so Anchor and Beloved members are organizational members that will have that those staff representatives and the membership bases sometimes underneath them. And then the
Mm-hmm.
C, the cultivator memberships, are individuals who represent themselves in space. And so they might be a part of a separate organization, but
Mm-hmm.
that organization is not a member just because they are part of it. The cultivator themselves is the member.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Um, any other questions around um or comments around these different relationships?
On the billing side, we have a sliding scale for dues, not sliding scale. It's in accordance to their budget level. And so wanting to be able to easily invoice people based off of their dues level, but
Mm-hmm.
the dues level does not change their access to the space.
Okay. So how are you currently billing them? Because I heard you brought up QuickBooks and also Bill. Are you billing through QuickBooks, Bill, or both?
Through bill right now.
Okay. And you want to find a way to automate that billing for the sliding scale that organizations fall up under or individuals, right? Or are we referring to both?
Yes, referring to both.
Okay.
And so there's like a yearly dues that, yes, would be nice to have automated.
Okay. And you want to continue that with Bill.com.
I think we're open to it, whatever integration makes sense. But Kedra, if you have anything to add here.
I would say, so QuickBooks is our overall official financial record. So if you find that it's easier one way or the other, you could link it to QuickBooks or you could link it to Bill.com, because we have capabilities of invoicing through QuickBooks as well. We just use Bill.com instead of invoicing through QuickBooks, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So whatever you feel would work better,
Okay.
we could rock with that.
Okay. Yeah, because I know QuickBooks for sure has a way to do automatic invoice generation, and then they'll be sent like a link they could click and just pay based on the sliding scale. So that may be the option or the go-to, but I'll provide like pros and cons of both. But I think QuickBooks will probably be the best. Any other questions around billing and the sliding scale or comments on that?
Um, just again with the relationships, we do have some people who are in there'll be individuals and representatives of
Hmm.
multiple organizations. So to have also the individuals linked to multiple accounts. So it's like the organization has multiple individuals under it, and then occasionally the individuals have multiple organizations they're a part of.
So organizations have multiple individuals under it, and also the individuals can belong to multiple organizations. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And you need a way to be able to track this, to track who belongs to what. So this person belongs to this organization, but they also belong to these other organizations as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then like how deep would it go? Would you want? So like if I'm a part of National Black Food Justice Alliance, but I'm also a part of another organization as well. I guess you want to be able to see profiles connected to both organizations as well.
Yes. So like if one person is like a representative of one organization, but they're just on staff at another organization or a board member, still being able to see both. Like when I pull up Alcie's profile, it says Saffon and it says Boggs. Um, yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. Um, yeah, that's definitely possible. And as far as like these relationships, all this data would is currently living in Neon as of now, right?
Nope, we've ended our contract with Neon. And so it's on Excel sheets. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Any questions around any or comments around the relationships when it comes to organizations and individuals? Okay. So we talked about memberships quite a bit. And as far as donors, I don't know if we talked about like, you want to keep track of donors as well. Um, but I don't know how deep. I don't think we went too deep in it. I don't know if you wanted to get a little bit more in depth on the donor side of tracking.
Yeah, anyone feel free to jump in who's more closely related. With the donors, it's kind of keeping track of like when we might have to report to them. When like we'll probably not process payments from donors through this CRM. We'll
Mhm.
probably just stick with the other ways we're directly processing those donations and relationships, but using the tool as a way of maintaining our relationships. You know, if we have a foundation that we have a direct contact with, and they leave, being able to like have an updated contact when we look up that foundation, being able to know that like our midway report is due July 20th. And so like having that alert to us. And those are the things that stand out. Keidra.
Yeah, so that's essentially it. We want to be able to track, so most of our donor information is going to be our institutional donors, but then we also will have our individual donors. I kind of have a different opinion from what Victoria shared. We were using Neon. We had Neon Pay set up, and we were taking individual gifts through Neon prior to ending our relationship with them. We also primarily use PayPal, but our intent was to shift away from PayPal and use Neon exclusively to receive our individual gifts. So those are usually like smaller amounts. There are monthly recurring donors that might be giving anywhere between $5 to like $25 a month. So they had set up these recurring payments. We were also using Neon to take in payments, I believe, for our journal.
Mhm.
Um, so the idea of switching to one or the other was because you pay fees, right? So PayPal takes a little cut of everything we take in, and Neon Pay also took a little cut of everything that we take in. My question would be if we are able to use this platform to take in our individual gifts. And the back end of it is like feeding in similar to member dues. If the back end is feeding into either bill.com or it's feeding into not PayPal, feeding into QuickBooks,
Mhm.
would that help us circumvent fees? Like, or is there always going to be a processor, you know? Uh,
As
I don't know
far
if
as
you have
like,
any feedback. So like a processing fee. So if someone's paying via credit card, how would that work?
so I know every processor when it came to Stripe, because I work with Stripe, I
Okay.
also work with Square,
Mm-hmm.
process some type of fee. The
Yep.
only time I remember not getting fees is when I do ACH. But
Gotcha.
what I would need to do is like look further into how that works with nonprofits and donors and
Yeah. And I
fees.
mean, it would be fine. Like if we had to leave kind of PayPal active, and even if the public facing side of it just looks like, hey, you're just going through our CRM to make your set up your recurring gifts or make your one-time individual gift or what have you. Like what would that look like? But we would, yes, ideally in a perfect world, so everything could be in one place. So like I wouldn't have to go necessarily to another site to figure out who our individual donors are and what their history of giving is. Like if it could all live in the CRM, that would be phenomenal. From our institutional donors, ideally it's basically going to be the organization, and then the sub part of that would be who our point of contact is within that foundation. And like Victoria said, we would be tracking if it's a one-time gift, we'd want to be able to flag if it's a multi-year grant. And we would like to be able to kind of see where we are in the cycle. Like one of the things that I do as the grant manager is I track if they've actually paid out for a multi-year gift. So have we received our deposit for 2026? And so that's something that, myself and Cicely would want to be able to go in and easily identify. Right now, I have to go into like QuickBooks and pull up that donor and see if we've had any deposits from them within the year and all that kind of stuff. So we would like to be able to kind of track the timeline where we are within the grant cycle, that kind of stuff, even if these are just like, check boxes, or if it's drop down menu and things of that nature, just some way that we can easily identify what the grant is. And then as Victoria shared, kind of like due dates, if there are reporting requirements, like when is that scheduled, when do we need to make sure that those reports are in, and all of that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
And so I have one question, and as far as with the fees, have you asked PayPal, do they offer competitive processing fees for nonprofits?
They do. They're always going to take a cut.
Okay.
It's less for nonprofits, but they're always going to charge you some kind of a fee.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you want something that's less than what they're offering right now? Like
if we could get a better rate, sure. We're always
okay.
shopping better rates, kind of like car insurance, shopping for the
Right.
best rates we can get. But I think, what I was saying is like we were, kind of getting double dipped on by having to pay fees over on the Neon side. And I think Neon's fees were maybe a little more than what PayPal's fees were. But any way that we can just consolidate and then obviously pay as little out in fees as possible.
Okay. Yeah, because with QuickBooks, is if you're accepting donations to QuickBooks or PayPal, information can be pulled from both of those platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And that can give you a way to see if, from an institutional level and also on an individual level, who's donating what type of donations are they giving? And also, as far as reports, how many reports do you send out on a monthly basis, or I don't know if you send them out quarterly? How do you how many?
It's per the funder's request. So again, if it's a one-time gift from a donor, they may say, for our donors, that they'll either say, they might schedule a call and we just talk through like what happened in the last year. Some people are cool with us just sending them a copy of our annual report so they can just see, here's the activity. Or there are some that will say they will send it to us, so we'll know when it's due. They'll send us a message and say, hey, it's time for your report, and report out here. It's usually written up in the grant agreement in the beginning, so we know what the cycle will be and what to expect and timeline and all of that. Some it will say, like, if it's a multi-year gift at the end of year 3, we want to hear back and see what happened. So
and all of this information is held in like spreadsheets or PDFs or like the grant agreements.
Yeah, so we save the grant agreements to our shared drive, and we also record them on spreadsheets, just for easy viewing. For now, we were putting it in Neon, but now we're kind of back to spreadsheet land since Neon is no longer.
Okay. And then are you looking to like automate that part as far as like how the grant stuff information gets into the spreadsheet, or you just basically keep that part, extract the grant agreements and the grant terms into the spreadsheet, and then plug it into a new CRM that kind of like automates everything.
Yeah, ideally, we would be able to run reports. So we would have dynamic spreadsheets. So right now, spreadsheets quickly become static.
Right.
If you're changing information in your CRM and then you're trying to also work offline. So we want to get out of that world where our data is out of date. So anytime we would need a report, if we wanted to look at a spreadsheet, we would just run the report from the CRM and we would see a real-time picture of where we stood um, across the board. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And I took some notes down on that as far as
Okay.
the donors, the reporting, and the flow of how you guys get the information to the spreadsheet and what you guys ideally want to accomplish, really. So I got that all.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we covered membership and we quite a bit in depth, got a lot of details and information, and we also covered donors, reporting, processing fees, um, and all that stuff, all the stuff that you guys talk about, that's something I could definitely handle, take care of. And the fact that, I built this CRM already, I already have like working modules, which would make the project move a lot smoother because I'm not building everything from scratch. It'll be like, 80% built, and then the 20% will be your customizations, that works with your workflow and operations. And so it's a lot less risk, a lot less time. Um, so what I wanted to do now that I have all this information is basically schedule like a follow-up so that I could do a proposal for the membership um part when it comes to managing that, and also the donor part when it comes to managing that as well. And also, when you guys get off the call, I'm gonna need if you can give me access to this video. I took a lot of notes, but I also want to look at the video again just to make sure all my notes align. But I wanted to schedule up a follow-up meeting to where I could do a proposal and then explain what I could do for you guys as far as handling this custom CRM.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I will grab a copy of the recording link and share that out. I have a question. You might have answered it, and I might not have heard you early on, but this particular CRM, this is proprietary to you, or is there another company that is the kind of the architect of the infrastructure?
So Sakona Collective CRM, their CRM is proprietary. What's not proprietary is then like an intake form. So like this is like my generic modules
Mm-hmm.
that I have. So I just switched, and these will be like my generic modules that I have, like pipeline. Nobody can say because they own this. What they own is their custom workflows as far as in the maternal care space,
Yeah.
doulas, providing these services. And that's what they own. And they are also planning on giving out licenses. So that's something I'm gonna work with them on. Just like if you guys, I create some custom for you, you guys own that custom, workflow. And if you guys were to, somebody else needs it and you license it out, it'll be the same thing as well.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I will say my concern thinking forward, lives, sometimes we don't know what happens. So if something happens to Jerry or Techluminate, who would be
Right.
able to access this to help us move forward? So that's kind of how I'm thinking. So in a larger organization where, it's a corporate setup, someone
Mhm.
else would hop in and continue to help us manage and administer our CRM. If this is just you,
Mhm.
what would be our plan, our continuity plan in a worst case scenario? So I'm just kind of thinking through that because that's very important, as you can imagine.
Yes, that's definitely important. And that's a really good question. And that's something I want to kind of come up with and get back to you on that. And also, I think would be best is probably add that to the proposal. Um, and I think it's something I need to address also with, the other project I'm working with you guys as far as continuity as well. Because yeah, that's really important. So I would want to address that in the next proposal. That's okay with you when
Yeah,
I present?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, cool. Um, Anybody else have any questions on this? Concerns?
I'll just drop, I think these are all things I mentioned, but we didn't get to touch on just to continue thinking about. Um, Keidra just mentioned the top one. But those are gaps I feel we didn't get to address today. And I'll probably have a few more to follow up on as well.
Okay, cool. When do you guys think you'll be available? I would like you guys, if all of you can join again. I don't know if it's gonna be the following week. Um, and then, maybe 1 week from now. I think today's Thursday. I don't know, maybe Wednesday. I think that'll give me enough time to get the proposal together, look at the video, and then we could dig a little deeper into, everything that we talked about.
For my availability, if it's important for me to be on this, could we look at the week of the 27th?
27th? Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
if you could send some proposals on dates and times for the week of the 27th, that would be preferable.
okay. Yeah, I'll send that out. Okay, cool. Any other questions, concerns?
Um, would this be able to be accessed in other countries?
Um, do you want it to be accessed in other countries? Accessible from other countries? What's that?
Yes, we have a couple of members that are in Ghana.
Yeah, yeah, it could be accessed from other countries.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
And I think to the support question, also looking at data security. Are you securing your own data that people use, or like how does that work? We don't have to get into it now. I'm
yeah,
making a list of questions to send over to you that are occurring as we get deeper into this.
yes, most definitely. Security in general is important for applications. Specifically now that I'm dealing with protected health information, I'm learning about HIPAA compliance. But yes, I do implement security practices within my application, and you can send over your questions, and then also I'll be able to address that in the proposal as well.
Appreciate that.
No problem.
I will be out for a few weeks, so I'll look for a recording from that proposal and hopefully be able to watch it and give feedback. Um,
Okay.
but I appreciate the information you shared today.
Oh, no problem. Also, I want to know, like, as far as timeline, when you guys were looking to get something like this, like, started, and when would you like to go, like, you know, launch on a membership and donor operation system?
Yeah, I think ideally by end of November, or
Hmm.
sorry, middle of November, end of October, middle of November. We
Okay.
do a yearly member renewal, and ideally there would be something in place that we're doing the member renewal through the new CRM with
Mm.
a dynamic form that the information is coming straight to it. Um, Instead of us having to we've had to just do a Google sheet the last 2 years, or like a Google form and then upload data. So in my head, that's my timeline, at least for phase one with membership stuff.
Mhm.
But I know, like, I don't think it's necessary that all the donor information be up by then. And then, yeah, does anyone else have thoughts about that timeline?
No,
So
that
just
sounds
to,
good.
yeah, just to reiterate, so phase one will be like a focus on the membership operational side. Would we also be implementing part of the donor operation side, or would that be left over to phase two?
I would say it's okay to prioritize the membership piece, and then phase two, you can roll into the donor.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, most definitely. Um, and I guess we would have to as far as like integrations, I'm looking at the membership side. as far as like billing, and stuff like that. Is that more so related to the donor side?
No, because we don't mm, typically, I won't speak in terms of absolutes. I won't say we never bill our institutional donors. Most of the time, they just via ACH or some
Okay,
method like that, they send the money directly to us. So we're not actually sending them an invoice. There are a few rare occasions where maybe it's a smaller, institutional donor. They may ask for us to send them an invoice for them to pay against, but those are rare situations. And then individual donors, it's all self-serve. They go to our website where it says donate here, and they opt into whether it's a one-time gift or whether or not they want to set up recurring gifts with us.
got it. Makes sense. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prioritize the membership side of the operation when it comes to the proposal. And I'm gonna leave out the donor side, unless you want me to quote something for that for phase two. I could also do something.
We would want to see a quote, right? So
Okay.
we want to know what we're working with, because I do know we won't be able to make a decision unless we know holistically what this build out would cost. So it's important for financial consideration to see the numbers, but then in terms of execution, it can be phased in phase two.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I think I got quite a bit of information. Um, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send out some times for the week of the 27th that you guys would be available to meet, and then I'm gonna present the proposal to you guys, and then we can take it from there.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah, I learned quite a bit about I learned more about National Black Food Justice Alliance, how
You
you guys
just keep
operate.
coming back for more and getting in deeper and deeper, Jerry.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks,
All
All
right.
Jared.
right.
After that, we
Well,
had the conversation about the technical assistance, and this came up. So appreciate you and looking forward to the next call and looking at what the quota looks like.
Okay, cool. Appreciate you guys too, and looking forward to the call as well.
all
Thanks,
right.
Jerry.
Take care.
All right, you
Bye.
too.
Talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.